I figured.
So smile when we discuss it. The Bulls ruined Derek Fisher's debut as a head coach. With a 104-80 win over the Knicks, Derrick Rose looked fit in his 21 minutes of play. Pau Gasol, Rose, Taj Gibson all scored in double digits. At one point, Chicago led by as many as 35 points. Meanwhile, Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks, running the triangle offense, only shot 36% on the night. The Knicks missing their starting point guard in Calderon, but Melo, Amari, at the highest point, 14 and 12, were scoring the highest, rather, for the Knicks. They talked about the loss last night.
I think we have a good team. Like I said, we can't get too big-headed. It's only the first game, but when things run smooth like the way they were running tonight, I think everyone got to look at our whole entire team and just saw how deep we are.
Embarrassed? No, I'm not embarrassed. We will get better. I believe that. I know that. And we got another chance. We got another shot at it tomorrow night.
He's not embarrassed, Stephen A. So was last night's game about good Bulls or bad Knicks?
Combination of both. First, the positives. Derrick Rose looks healthy. First half, pushing the ball off the floor. Told my man Mike Wilbon before the game that his ultimate goal was to make sure he was active, that he showed that he still has some speed, and to get everybody involved, not necessarily looking for his shot or his points. He did that last night. This kid, you look at Taj Gibson. He was incredibly formidable off the bench with 22 points. Pau Gasol looked on a mission to prove that last year he could still be the player that helped the Lakers win 2 championships. Yeah. This kid, Aaron Brooks, I said a lot about Nate Robinson, the former Bull now in Denver, and I meant them because I'm really high on Nate Robinson. But I got to tell you, Skip, I totally forgot that Aaron Brooks, this backup point guard, was on this Chicago Bulls team. This little brother can play, and he can put up some points too. And we hear that the second team regularly beats the Chicago Bulls starters in practice, even though Derrick Rose kind of denied that. But I got news for you. It's believable. If that is even remotely true, then we can understand why they did what they did to the New York Knicks, which brings me to the negative. The New York Knicks looked horrible. I'm not going to say they are horrible, but they looked horrible. And let me tell you why. This triangle offense, in the end, y'all, here's what it comes down to. The New York Knicks struggle to move the basketball. Okay? When you're talking about the triangle offense, it's about hitting your spots. You have to keep in mind that when you're talking about hitting your spots, you're talking about the ball going to a certain area. Well, check this out, y'all. Bottom line is that the other team knows where the ball is going itself. So unless you've got somebody that can break down the defense and really be selfish enough to just take over, like Jordan and Kobe tended to do when necessary, you're not going to be able to do anything, especially when you're surrounded by teammates who know how to play individual basketball but don't know how to excel playing team basketball as it pertains to moving the basketball. And Carmelo Anthony, listening to people accusing him of being selfish and what have you, was hell-bent on making sure he didn't come across as somebody who was selfish. So he was playing into all of that and being incredibly unselfish and not looking for a shot and making it look as if Mike Dunleavy Jr. could stick him, could defend him. It was unbelievable. But in the end, the New York Knicks, horrible. Horrible performance last night. Horrible for the most part. And in the end, what it comes down to is that the Chicago Bulls were an incredibly superior team. And the New York Knicks, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? They just don't have a team yet, man. They're too small, don't know how to play defense well, don't know anything about the triangle. They've got one play in, Carmelo Anthony, not much else, and it was just sad to see. And it's going to be even worse tonight.
You have missed the point about the game that you observed firsthand last night. That game was about one player and one player only, and that player was wearing street clothes. Before we talked about the game yesterday and I gave the Knicks a chance to win it, I read numerous stories that said Jose Calderon will play, that he had practiced well, and Derek Fisher said we fully expect him to play, and he did not play. Jose Calderon is the single most important player to your new New York Knicks because he has got to be the head of the new snake. He is the man who tormented my San Antonio Spurs in the first round of the playoffs, took him to 7 games last year with his point guard savvy and his clutch three-point shooting. He is the man who has to get this team lined up in its new triangle offense that looked last night like a no-angle offense. And I agree with you completely about Carmelo. He was thinking instead of flowing. And he did want to show, I'm trying to do this new offense. I don't really get it yet, but I'm trying. And when he did shoot, it was after 2 or 3 thoughts, oh, maybe I will shoot this. And it was pathetic to watch. But in the end, what happened on the scoreboard was, as you point out, the Bulls' second team annihilated the Knicks' second team. And Stephen A., especially Tim Hardaway Jr. and J.R. Smith, they both had a combined minus 22 and plus minus. And meanwhile, Aaron Brooks and Taj Gibson destroyed them. They were plus 28 and plus 25. That's where the score got lopsided. And Derrick Rose, I don't know. He looked healthy, but he didn't have much impact on the game. I mean, he shoots 3 of 7. He couldn't finish at the rim. Got to the rim, just didn't finish very much. Played only 21 minutes, maybe because they didn't need him for more than 21. But in the end, the shock to me, as you said, Aaron Brooks, but Pau Gasol, did you expect 21 and 11 from him? And I know you have picked the Bulls to win the East. Hey, if he's going to average 21 and 11, I'm going to have to go with you on that because that was extraordinary. I didn't see that from Pau.
Well, listen, the Chicago Bulls are a formidable team. There's no way to slice it.
Yeah.
I mean, and what did I say? It's because they can defend. They can lock you down. And that's what this really comes down to. You've got Joakim Noah. You've got Taj Gibson. Now you've got, Pau Gasol. Okay? You've got Derrick Rose back. You've got a Mike Dunleavy Jr. who can shoot. You've got an Aaron Brooks who can come off the bench and can score. Listen, Jimmy Butler didn't even play last night.
Yep.
And so to me, the way I look at it is that, you can say all you want about Jose Calderon. He wasn't going to make much of a difference based on what we saw last night because you had other guys that didn't know what to do. And remember, in the triangle system, there's not really a point guard. It really isn't. Really, that off guard is so important because you've got to read, Skip. You've got to anticipate. You've got to read defenses. You've got to anticipate. You've got to know where to go. You got to know what to look for. You got to know how to read and react, not only off the defense, but your teammates and what they're doing as well. And if you don't really have that down pat, that's problematic for you. Well, who do the Knicks have at the 2-guard spot? Iman Shumpert's no shooter. He's not a threat as an offensive player. You look at a J.R. Smith. He can shoot, but is relatively erratic, and there are some questions as to his understanding of the triangle offense. And then you might have somebody like Tim Hardaway Jr., who looked very, very good in summer league action, relatively decent in preseason action. But during the regular season, when you're going up against starters and guys that are going to be on the floor, you've got to have the ability to showcase all of that. And they don't yet. And so to me, again, it's almost cruel that they had to start out the season against Chicago and then now when LeBron James returned home. But it is what it is. But that doesn't give you an excuse to look lost. You can look overwhelmed.
Yep.
But to look lost is different. And they looked lost last night.
I hear you. They did. And I know the triangle well from my days in Chicago with covering the Bulls. But you still need an initiator, and Calderon will make them look like they have some clue as to what they're doing when he gets on the floor. And I don't know if he can play tonight or not, but they're going to need him.
All right, let's leave it there. Coming up, lots of storylines surrounding LeBron's official return.